is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
Welcome to News 9 and you are watching On Point. Today we have two On Points. First, we look at Congress President Mallaikarjun Kharge and PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti's shocking remarks on Operation Sindoor. Why is politics being played out over patriotism? Second, we look at where does the Congress government in Karnataka stand after 2 years in power. And now, let's take a quick look at the headlines. Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir promoted to Field Marshal rank, decision taken at cabinet meeting chaired by Shehbaz Sharif. Centre urges SC to limit hearing on the Waqf Act to 3 key issues, including the power to denotify Waqf properties. Ashoka University professor sent to 14-day judicial custody over Operation Sindoor, remarks next hearing scheduled for May 27. Terror suspect Siraz-ur-Rahman from Andhra Pradesh remanded to 14-day judicial custody following his arrest on charges related to a terror plot. Gold smuggling suspects Kannada actor Rania Rao and Tarun Konduru Raju get bail but to remain in DRI custody. Heavy rains continue to batter Bengaluru. IMD issues orange alert for city. CM Siddaramaiah pushes for stormwater drain cleanup. More than 50 COVID positive cases reported under Mumbai Municipal Cooperation Limit. Singapore and Hong Kong also witnessed a surge in cases. Tamil Nadu government approaches Supreme Court against Madras High Court's rejection of its challenge to ED searches of TASMAC headquarters. .7 magnitude earthquake hits Nepal, epicenter 250 km from Kathmandu. No substantial damage, says government. War of words between Congress and BJP has exploded on Operation Sindoor. First, Congress targeted Foreign Minister on informing Pakistan, and now Congress President Mallaikarjun Kharge has called it Chhut-Put. Mehbooba Mufti wants to know as to what India has gained from the operation. And my question here is it impossible to have a bipartisan approach on security issues? BJP has accused Congress of taking up the Pakistan line. Instead of giving hell to Pakistan together, political parties are giving hell to each other on their commitment to nationalism. Addressing the Samarpane Sankalp rally in Karnataka, Kharge slammed the centre for failing to ensure adequate security arrangements for the 26 tourists killed in Pahalgam terror attack. He also alleged that the Prime Minister Modi had cancelled his Kashmir visit after receiving an intelligence report 3 days before the Pahalgam terror attack.
ಈಗೇನು ನಾವು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಚುಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಯುದ್ಧಗಳು ನಡೆದಿವೆ ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನ ವಿರುದ್ಧ ನಾವೇನು ಘರ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ, ಪಾಕಿಸ್ತಾನ ಕೆಲಸ ಅಂತೂ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಬರೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶ ಮೇಲೆ ಗೂಬಿ ಕೂಡಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಶಕ್ತಿಹೀನರು. ಇವತ್ತು ಚೈನಾದಿಂದ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಮೇಲೆ ದಾಳಿ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
वो तो मुझे मालूम नहीं क्या फायदा हो गया, पर नुकसान मैं कह सकती हूँ कि हमारे घर उजड़ गए, हमारे मकान बर्बाद हो गए, हमारे बच्चे इसमें शहीद हो गए, हमारे घरों के अंदर आंगन में माँ बाप ने कब्रें बनाई अपने बच्चों की, किसी की माँ किसी छोटे दूध पीते बच्चे ने, मुझे नाम नहीं याद आ रहा है, एक सरदार जी हमारे थे, उसके छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं जिनकी माँ इसमें उसका गोला आ गया और उसके वहीं उसके सर के 2 टुकड़े हो गए. तो ये तो हम मुझे तो वही नजर आ रहा है. अब मुझे नहीं पता है कि इससे ज्यादा क्या अचीव किया होगा, क्योंकि जो मिलिटेंट इसमें या टेररिस्ट जिसको आप कहते हैं, जो इसमें इन्वॉल्व थे, अभी तक उनको पकड़ा नहीं गया, अभी तक उनकी कोई खैर खबर नहीं है। तो पाकिस्तान में भी अगर आप देखते हैं कि आप जैसे हमारे एक्सटर्नल अफेयर मिनिस्टर ने बताया कि मैंने पाकिस्तान को पहले ही वार्न किया था, तो इसका मतलब है जब आप वार्न करते हैं उनको, तो इसका मतलब है जो आप कहते हैं कि हमने टेररिस्ट कैंप्स पे अटैक किया, तो वो भी उनको भी मिल गया होगा मौका वहां से भागने का। तो मुझे नहीं मालूम, कि मेरे लिए तो ये 0/0 है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली आजकल के वक्त में जब भी आप कोई सवाल करते हो तो उसको बहुत जल्दी एंटी नेशनल का जामा पहनाया जाता है। तो इंडिया इज अ ग्रेट कंट्री, इंडिया इज सवाल करना, बीजेपी सरकार से सवाल करना, मैं नहीं समझती ये कोई एंटी नेशनल बात है या कोई ये प्रो पाकिस्तानी बात है।
कांग्रेस पार्टी कह रही है, खरगे जी कह रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एक छोटी सी लड़ाई है, स्वाभाविक है। 26/11 के बाद जिसके सबसे बड़े नेता राहुल गांधी बड़ी सी पार्टी मना रहे हों, उनके लिए ऑपरेशन सिंदूर एक छोटी सी ही लड़ाई नजर आएगी। क्या राहुल गांधी और खरगे जी ये समझ नहीं पा रहे हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में घर के अंदर घुस के, पाकिस्तान के अंदर घुस के भारत की सेना ने अदम्य साहस के परिचय के साथ 9 आतंकी अड्डों को ध्वस्त किया, मिट्टी में मिलाया, 100 से अधिक आतंकवादी मारे गए। रिटेलिएशन के पश्चात 11 एयर बेस तबाह कर दिए गए और पाकिस्तान आज करहाते हुए नजर आ रहा है। ऐसे में जब आप कहते हैं कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कुछ नहीं, एक छोटी सी लड़ाई थी, ये कहीं ना कहीं अपने देश के साथ, अपने देश के सेना के अदम्य साहस के साथ यह धोखा है।
Now, Congress has launched Jai Hind Sabhas across 15 states to question the government's handling of national security. BJP has launched Tiranga Yatra to highlight India's befitting response to Pakistan. Both the ruling BJP and the principal opposition party are trying to outdo each other after Operation Sindoor. But this does not end here. The competition on nationalism. The Kerala Congress shared a post that showed Prime Minister Modi in fatigues and combat gear with a caption saying "Aapda mein Afsar," whereas BJP merged Rahul Gandhi's photograph with Asif Munir accusing him of using Pakistan language. Subsequently, Mir Jafar and Jaijan Jais were flung at political rivals. The Congress also criticized the use of PM Modi's photograph alongside a slogan lauding Operation Sindoor on railway tickets. So my big question here is, what message are we sending to the world? Can BJP and opposition bury their differences to speak in a united voice against Pakistan? And does India need a national security doctrine insulated from election cycles? And lastly, can the spirit displayed by former PM Narasimha Rao in appointing then leader of opposition who went on to become the Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to counter Pakistan in UN be revisited? I am joined by Mukesh Tyagi, National Spokesperson Bharatiya Janata Party, Mahima Singh, National Spokesperson Congress, Ajit Keja, Senior Journalist and Cephalogist, and Savio Rodriguez, Founder and Editor-in-Chief, Goa Chronicle. Mukesh Tyagi, your opening comments. Can't we have a united stand against Pakistan? I mean, so today it was a meme fest.
Hello?
Yes, your opening comments, sir.
You see, I'm reminded of a शेर, मेरा अज़्म इतना बुलंद है कि मुझे पराए शोलों का डर नहीं, मुझे खौफ है आतिश गुल से ये कहीं चमन को जला न दे. You see, there's such a blatant betrayal to the national cause under the garb of nationalism. I think Congress is completely becoming an international laughing stock for their hollow nationalism. They are just trying to ape or counter and neutralize Mr. Modi's rising popularity. They have not been able to digest how 370 was abrogated despite formidable opposition. Now, J&K was heading into a very peaceful and a huge economic progress. And these kinds of, I think, yatras, just to counter, why couldn't they join Tiranga Yatra? I mean, what is wrong with Tiranga represents not BJP. I mean, if we wanted to run this, we could have called Saffron Yatra. But it is a national yatra, and in there also, they are not showing any bipartisan elements. that shows that they are politically so frustrated. Look at Shashi Tharoor, the way they are talking about Shashi Tharoor. I mean, these guys are not able to take anything which is of the national character. They just bring politics in every form. I mean, look at Mallikarjun Kharge utterances ki Chhut-Put hai. There, Sandeep, I think Dikshit said ki army ka general jo hai gali ka gunda hai. I mean, number of utterances where you will see that they're real. Mr. Rahul Gandhi's utterances on the international platform against India and inviting China, inviting EU. What are you doing all the time? I mean, there has to be a time when you have to show a formidable consciousness. You're dealing with a formidable enemy, both sides, China and Pakistan. And I think this is the sensitive time. If you show your fractured unity right now in this country, you think enemy is going to take it easy? And what not in this India-Pakistan, look at the kind of achievements which Indian Army has done. They've destroyed their air base. They have destroyed very, very well-calibrated, terrorist apparatus. They destroyed completely.
Okay.
They must, on the contrary, give kudos and admire and stand united very, very strongly.
Okay. You made your opening comments. Let me straight away go to Mahima Singh. Madam, your opening comments.
Jai Hind, before I get on to the point and I show you something really, really bizarre that the BJP did the last when they carried out a Tiranga Yatra, I must open my remarks with Meena Bhatt's poising words. शोध करने के लिए जब लोग पहुंचे चांद पर हम भी मंगल तक तिरंगा यार लहराने गए. Those were the times, Kartikeya, when the founding forefathers of the Congress were fighting to hoist that tiranga on the ramparts of the Red Fort. But the BJP carried out a Tiranga Yatra on the 15th August 2022 in Uttar Pradesh. Let me show you a picture. You see, this is the picture. And here is Godse's photo. Here is Godse's photo atop a vehicle. And I am showing this because this is exactly their idea of nationalism. The assassins of Gandhi, when they carry out a Tiranga Yatra, what does it mean, Kartikeya? It means, and it reminds us that this is the very party and their ideologue RSS boycotted the Tiranga for the longest time, for 52 years. And finally, when somebody dared to go and climb those, the building of RSS in Nagpur, they got arrested. They were prosecuted at behest of the RSS. And let me also remind our dear nation today, Kartikeya, that this very Hindu Mahasabha, the founding forefathers of the BJP, they mourned on August 15. They called it a mourning on August 15, 1947. Why? Because they were opposed to the Tiranga and they thought that this Tiranga with three colors is actually an upshagun, is inauspicious. So that is the whole idea behind their Tiranga Yatra. Now it is a mere game of optics for the BJP. Okay. And I was listening to the BJP spokesperson. I'll tell you who has made us a laughing stock. The BJP and this government today, the government of the day, and our external affairs minister has made this country a laughing stock when he went out and said at the very start we informed them, but they refused to take the good advice. Now the BJP can go out and interpret it and reinterpret it and go on rectifying, remedifying in vain whatever they've said. But I would emphasize the last phrase of that entire statement, where Mr. Jaishankar goes on to say, but they refused to take the good advice, which very much tells us that it was prior to the attack and not afterwards, which is why we could never enter the airspace of Pakistan. We had to do whatever we did, and kudos to our armed forces. Salute to our armed forces for what they did. But pity this government that politicizes, pity this government that puts the pictures of Mr. Modi on railway tickets, thumping their chest again for Operation Sindoor. And we knew this is what the BJP
Point made. Savio, do we really need a national security doctrine which is insulated from the political cycles? I was reading Shashi Tharoor's edit in the Hindu today, and he was suggesting the same, that we really need a national security doctrine which is insulated from political cycles of, elections.
Well, I agree with him, actually. I think what is important is when there is a national security issue, then the political parties in the country do not matter. It is the country that matters. It's the people of the country that matter. So while BJP, Congress and other political parties might have their slugfest, each might want to claim its own upmanship and score political brownie points, I think at the end of the day, it's the country that's most important. And it's shameful, but that's what's going to happen. And that's what politicians do. And that's how political parties behave. You and I can pontificate and tell them that that's not the right thing to do, but they're still going to do it. You know, Operation Sindoor is not yet over. It's still going on. Operation Sindoor will get completely complete when we deal with every single terror threat that emanates out of Pakistan. But that's not been complete. So we are still at an alert. It's only been kept at an abeyance at this point of time. It's not complete. The point is that we have achieved whatever little we have achieved is significant enough in the message that we have sent out to Pakistan. But a lot more needs to be done, and I believe the government is doing it in its right mind and in its right focus. But what is also important of the opposition is to understand that in this fight, it is a collective responsibility of us as a country that's important. Because when you're representing the government and once you're inside the parliament, you cease to be BJP and Congress. You are representatives of a country. So today the parliament and the parliamentarians must come together and say, listen, we have an enemy nation that's allowed for terror to emanate out of its country towards our land. And therefore, collectively, with our wisdom, we have to deal with it. Now, I'm not saying that there are bad people in the Congress. I'm not saying that there are very good people in the BJP. I'm saying there are strengths that exist across parliamentarians, across political parties, because at the end of the day, they are Indians. And that's what is required from them, their ability to deal with a national crisis that we have, which has now become an international crisis because you've got United States of America, the president getting involved in it.
Okay. Ajit, has this operation, which is right now in sort of a suspended mode, not active, because there's a DGMO call that has taken place, so there's a cessation of hostilities, has actually sparked a huge row on the issue of nationalism, or commitment of political parties on the issue of national security?
Yes, you know, it's basically what you pointed out. It's competitive nationalism, tit for tat. Let me just take a minute to give you a brief history. In 1907, Chempakaram Pillai, he coined the term Jai Hind. Subhash Chandra Bose used it in the 1940s. It was adopted after 1947 as one of the main slogans. In fact, Nehru and several other leaders used to use it during their speeches. If you go back to Tiranga, Pingali Venkaiah in 1921 designed it. In 1931, Congress Working Committee in its Karachi meeting appointed a 7-member committee which basically made it finally as the national symbol. And 1947, we have used it in our flag. So the point I'm trying to make is both of these, Tiranga as well as Jai Hind, are basically nationalist, powerful symbols. One from 1907, the other from 1921. Now, both were initially, Congress began both. Now, what has happened in the meanwhile is that BJP, with its powerful symbolic use of Tiranga, let's say in this case, or other symbolic use of other nationalist symbols, have pulled the rug from under the feet of the Congress. And right now, it seems as if Tiranga is dominating over Jai Hind, when, as I argued, both are equally powerful symbols. So I suppose it's the BJP's massive cadre base in different states and the way the BJP has done it by saying, well, we are not leading it. The army is leading it. Let the Congress come and join. Whereas the Congress, which is in a way at this moment seems like playing a defensive game, has lost both its powerful symbols away to the BJP. So it's an interesting twist of history, a strange, tragic irony for the Congress, and worse, this is fine. But when both start calling each other Mir Jafars and agents of Pakistan, that's where the gentleman...
Mir Jafar and Jai Chand.
and Jai Chand, then what happens is, this competitive nationalism, which might be healthy, it loses its gentlemanliness. Then it degenerates into something which, reminds us of our neighbor Pakistan. And that is the tragic part of it. If both sides could just go on this competitive nationalism, that would make it much better than these kind of languages used.
Mr. Tyagi, what message are we going to say, send to the world when all party delegation divided into multiple groups is going to go out? In India, we have a political dangle over this issue, and abroad, from Panama to Canada to United States of America to UAE, from Asaduddin Owaisi to Ravi Shankar Prasad to Shashi Tharoor, we'll be making a case against Pakistan, and then we will also have social media memes emanating from their country where our politicians are fighting.
No, this is exactly the most dangerous trend which we need to understand the consequences. It can have a very, very diabolic consequences. Because if you've seen the history, how the invaders have taken the full advantage of the porous solidarity in the country. And the Mughal Sashan happened, British came. That's why Jaichand and Mir Zafar the adjective has been used. And exactly we are trying to create the same kind of environment where India is weakened and there is a fault line across the political architecture of India. No, who will not take advantage? You think the Pakistan is not monitoring and calibrating and will not take the strategic decision at the right time when they'll see India is going through this kind of upheaval, Congress is divided. Actually, at this time, if you try to raise this issue, because we are right now in a very vulnerable situation, Prime Minister Modi, if you see his valor, in 1993, if I remember the year correctly, he went to Lal Chowk and hoisted the national flag despite the fact the bombs were being hurled. There was a threat to his life. Murli Manohar Joshi and Modi ji went that time. So this kind of dedication, I think this is the time Rahul Gandhi should rise above the occasion and forget about all the differences. He can play these differences in the hustings and come on political basis. They were the one who was criticizing the national emblem. That line is, this is not the right design, this is not that design. It comes to the new parliament, they criticize that parliament. Problem is this, that Congress is running out of all. They raised the issue of Rafale, they apologized to Supreme Court. They raised the issue of Constitution. I think that's again not being upheld. They are raising Janjati Jangarna. Mr. Modi has already announced the Janjati Jangarna. So these guys are running out of all the options because everything is boomerang, as a matter of fact. Only thing which has happened, gave them the fodder, is the 99 seat which Congress won. But now they are getting so emboldened. They are thinking the next, but I want to advise Congress sincerely that they need to come out with a formidable opposition, genuine opposition, and at least keep your mouth shut. When the country is surrounded by very, very serious enemy, we need to economically progress. Our economic progress is very important. We need to make our boundaries very strong.
Okay, you made your point, sir. Let me take this question to Mahima Singh. Madam, the accusation is that every time something important happens, Congress says कि इसका सबूत दीजिए. Your response, ma'am.
I heard the BJP spokesperson. And do you know what is very, very petty and what is very pitiable today? Is the BJP is brazenly coming and, lie mongering. In the first all-party meeting, they said, oh, we did not know the valley was open. What kind of a joke were they trying to make of our nation when the tourists knew, when the agencies knew, everybody knew, the world knew, but the government did not know. Now he's saying that the Congress should keep its mouth shut. I would rather turn that advice around to the BJP spokesperson and his party that happens to run the country today, because 30 minutes ahead of the Prime Minister's address to the nation, we hear Mr. Trump coming out for a third time, Kartikeya, and saying that, well, I blackmailed India and Pakistan with, he said, I told them, if you don't do ceasefire, then there's no trade. And at that stage in Riyadh, we saw world leaders laughing, grinning smiles. That was not funny at all, Kartikeya. So the BJP needs to put its act together as a matter of the governance. They've been given this opportunity for the third time, although their position has been weakened a lot. But they need to understand it's no game This is not fun. Our citizens coming on American army planes, thrice, one after the other. The first plane came, Mr. Modi went to Pakistan, and we thought, okay, finally he is going to talk to Mr. Trump. But what we saw was Indian media projecting images of Mr. Trump pulling chairs for Mr. Modi, and shortly thereafter, another plane landing on on our country, on the lands of our country. And what we heard from our countrymen was very shameful when they told us that they were forced into beef eating when they were kept hostages by the USA government. So you see, the BJP needs to put its act together. They need to stop lying to this country. And just now he said it is boomerang. Well, I must thank him for bringing up the U-turns taken by Mr. Modi. Whether it is the caste census or the other incidents, he is cited, I would also say it's quite laughable how he has, cited Mr. Modi's valor. You see, this whole drum beating army of Mr. Modi's, that's how they have pushed Mr. Murli Manohar Joshi, Mr. Lalkrishna Advani to the side. And today they talk about capability of
that
Congress
has nothing
leaders.
To do with Operation Sindoor.
They will tell us which leaders are capable of being sent to the world stage.
But that has nothing to do with Operation Sindoor.
Their own leaders.
But the Murli Manohar Joshi has nothing to do with Operation Sindoor.
That's very true. But the BJP spokesperson just brought it up and said in 1993,
I talked about the Lal Chowk.
Mr. Modi's valor. He was a follower of Murli Manohar Joshi, Mr. L.K. Advani, and he should be thankful.
But that's the fact of the matter, that Vajpayee, Murli Manohar Joshi, Advani, they were his seniors. I would say it's an undisputed fact of history. Mukesh, would you like to respond to this? And then I'll go to Savio.
But that's not Mr.
I think
Modi's.
she did not comprehend what I meant to say. She's, I think, mixing up and jumbling up, and I think she has lost her complete, the whole.
Please do not allow the BJP spokesperson to,
Mahima ji, aapne bola
I didn't stop you. Mahima, madam, I didn't stop you. Madam, I am not allowing any. I am not allowing any spokesperson to get away. I allow people to make their points strongly, but the style of my show is slightly different. I don't rebuke any spokesperson. I don't behave like a school teacher. I don't like that format of TV, and I've decided I'm not going to do that. I only object when things become objectionable. You made your point, Mukesh, and then I'll go to my esteemed guests. No,
I can understand. She has got a very, very, very difficult script to defend, which is absolutely indefensible, but she's doing good job. But at the same time, I'm not distorting any fact. What I said is 1993, when the separatism in Kashmir was at the peak, and the terrorists challenged that if Mr. Modi comes, we'll kill him. There was bombardment going on. There were bullets going through. Despite the fact he went on that Tiranga Yatra and hoisted the flag, he took the risk of his life. That's what I'm trying to say. You are distorting the fact. Murli Manohar Joshi was heading that delegation, that yatra, that
where does the question of Mr. Modi's valor come? Where does the question of Mr. Modi's valor come when it was headed by Mr.
What evidence you want? I mean, what can't be bigger valor that
while you are answering, please also answer this.
Again, you are. I know you have a difficult task to handle.
2022.
Okay, please let Mr. Tyagi complete his point. Yes.
What I'm saying, Kartikeya, is that is it the time to get into this parochial, narrow, sectarian differences? I mean, these people can't see the broader picture. Broader picture is nationalism. As somebody said, that the security should be absolutely unified. I mean, you can't take up a different views and start raising because you are becoming a laughing stock in Parliament in Pakistan. They are saying this is the kind of united.
Let me do the brass tacks here. Savio, the broader picture. Now let me come to the broader picture. Things which which generally politicians don't say. Is it actually about the last war Prime Minister India saw was Indira Gandhi? Even during Rajiv Gandhi, the Operation Meghdoot was an operation. It still continues in Siachen, but it was not a war. Brass tacks happened. It was not war. It was an operation. So the last war took place in 1971, which we say even Kargil, we took back our territory, and Vajpayee did a brilliant job. Do you think it's all boiling down to the war Prime Minister imagery? Is it boiling down to that,
Well, after listening to Eminem from the political parties, I think we'll bring a little bit of 5-star to the discussion. All right. The point is this. Whatever situation we are as a country, we are currently facing enemies across the border. And that enemy is not going to stop. Terrorism is going to continue. We've seen terrorism happen for the last couple of
not across the
years.
border. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, I mean to say Myanmar.
Yes, we're going to see it all over. You're going to see Maldives also having its own terrorism coming into India. We've seen that in the past. The point is this. When the issue is elections, when the issue is politics, I can understand Congress, BJP, political parties fighting about it. What I can't understand is that on issues of national security, where is the dispute? We are one country, we're trying to protect our country, right? That's the job of every parliamentarian, that's the job of every politician, that's the job of every citizen. So I don't understand, and you know what I find even more disturbing and shameful is because these are the same discussions that other youngsters and other people in this country are going to watch and be formulating their own opinion and formulating their own divisive thoughts because of the kind of upmanship that you're seeing from the Congress and BJP on a national security issue. And that's the more dangerous trend. I don't care what the Pakistanis think of us. What I care about is what our countrymen and women are thinking when they're seeing two of the largest political parties in the country actually slogging each other over a national security issue when they should be coming together. And that's the real problem. So are we to see this stop? I don't see this stopping. But in the interest of the country, I pray they stop. Because they're sending a very wrong message to the people of this country. The country is very high on the efforts that the government has done. And when I say the government, the Indian government, which includes the ruling and the opposition. But now, with this tutu meme that is going on, this Eminem syndrome that is going on, I think we're losing the plot, and the people of India are actually getting frustrated
Ajit,
and irritated with both political parties.
Ajit, despite the fact that, at the height of the Babri Masjid agitation, the 1994 when Narasimha Rao sent Atal Bihari Vajpayee with all of the people, this was post the demolition of Babri Masjid. That was the height of the Hindutva politics. Even then, an all-party delegation managed to surprise everyone in Geneva. I mean, so there are records where Pakistanis were surprised to see Salman Khurshid working with Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and then you had people like Dinesh Singh and Farooq Abdullah, with other diplomats called from Tokyo and other parts working together and blunting what the OIC had done by moving the proposal. Why is this spirit missing right now on such a critical issue? And as we speak, Asif Munir has been kicked up. He has been made field marshal by the Pakistanis, The guy stays. He has cut a deal in Pakistan. He stays there. We will have a new Pakistani general. Whether we'll get a jihadi general or not, I don't know. But that guy is going to be there as a field marshal. I mean, he's no Manekshaw.
Yes, you're right. In fact, and then I heard that Imran Khan from jail congratulated Asif Munir. But you see, the point is, there was a time, as you pointed out, or for example, Atal Bihari Vajpayee as leader of the opposition, he congratulated Indira Gandhi, called her a Durga Mai. See, that was the era of what I call, despite the fact that there was political competition, but they have respect for each other. On issues of national security, there was a consensus abroad as well as in the country. What prevented the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition to come together and say, okay, at this moment, we will hold joint yatras. Both the India bloc and the BJP could have organized a joint yatra, supported the armed forces, and not had this, what we see, tutu mai, this, tit for tat kind of politics, which is rather embarrassing. In fact, the leader of the opposition could have congratulated the Prime Minister, exactly like Atal Bihari Vajpayee congratulated Indira Gandhi, would have said, what an immense success Operation Sindoor has been. We congratulate you. And initially, for the first 2-3 days, the Congress party did show some discipline. They were quiet. They supported the entire issue. It is precisely when the war ended and the so-called ceasefire began, that's where this competitive nationalism on the streets we see, which is so noisy, which reminds us what we need is national unity right now, not this kind of tutu meme by the two principal parties.
Okay, Mahima, very quickly, I really need to close the show because other two panelists from Karnataka are waiting, one from your party and one from Mr. Tyagi's party. Because 2 years of Siddaramaiah government has been done, that's the second debate. So 30 seconds to you, madam.
I request 1 minute, Kartike. I have a few points to make. First of all, I would, like to respond to the honorable journalist that, you see, we were together. We came together with the government unconditionally. But do you know, where did it all fall apart? Where did the unity fall apart? The unity that we had, pronounced, it fell apart when the BJP put out an image of Mr. Modi, solely putting the credit on him and saying, Yachna nahi ab ran hoga. We have been asking for a joint parliament session, special parliament session. We have been asking for an all-party meeting chaired by the Prime Minister. Did not happen. As pleasing as Mr. Rodriguez's thoughts might seem today, I have confronted him as a BJP leader earlier. Now today he's shifted stance and I am sitting where I have sat for 3 generations. And as a congresswoman, I will continue to ask these questions of the BJP, who paved the way for those terrorists 250 kilometers inside the Indian boundary.
Since you responded to Savio has a right to respond to this, then that would be the closing comment from Savio, in the fairness of it.
Well, to address Mahima, the most important aspect is that I continue to be a journalist and I'll always be a journalist. And I will take a baseball bat to the Congress and the BJP. So when I wear a hat of the BJP and I'm asked to speak on that, I will defend what I need to. But when I'm here as a journalist,
yes,
I will take that bat and bash both of you guys. So like I said at the start, the Eminem syndrome which I heard before, I prefer the 5 stars. Okay. So let's all be like 5 stars and move ahead.
My take, Savio, is that on this issue, when every political party has now finally, got together and the entire group divided into multiple parts are going abroad, there has to be some display of unity for the narrative's sake. And this narrative war cannot be lost for minor political gains because lot is at stake. In context of Pakistan, the sort of reverse radicalization of Pakistani army is being underestimated by our domestic audience. I mean to say the jihadis have reverse radicalized the Pakistani army, and that's the biggest danger. That's the biggest danger to the Indian subcontinent because all they want to do is to break the idea of India. Thank you all of you for joining this debate. This was On Point 1. In the second On Point, we will look at 2 years of Siddaramaiah's government in Karnataka. Congress Party's mega event to mark 2 years of the Karnataka government was held at Chhut-Put amid pouring rain. In attendance at the massive rally called the Samparn Sankalp Samavesh held at Chhut-Put District Stadium was attended by Congress MP Leader of Opposition Rahul Gandhi, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar, with other leaders. The government claims to have spent over 80,000 crore on schemes like Griha Lakshmi Shakti, Griha Jyoti that offer monthly financial support to women, free bus rides, free electricity to households. Rahul Gandhi also spoke on the issue. A lot of leaders spoke on the issue. So what is the road ahead for Siddaramaiah? What have been the big challenge for the government and what is the road ahead? Has it been successful in implementing flagship programs? Let me take you through some pros and cons. Hits of Siddaramaiah. All 7 crore Kannadigas benefited from the government schemes. 68% women used Griha Lakshmi scheme to start micro enterprises. Women in the state availed 210 crore free rides. Griha Jyoti scheme gave 200 units free electricity to 1.5 crore families. Bhagya Lakshmi scheme gave rupees 2,000 to women heads of families. Anna Bhagya guarantee promises 10 kg food grains every month. Mrs. CM was accused of allocating sites to his wife in Muda scam. Big controversy broke. Honey trap allegation by Cooperation Minister K. Rajanna embarrassed the government. It came from nowhere.